Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of time with me. My name is Tania Sidokpohou. I'm part of the partnership team at Cloudbeds. I'm here to talk to you guys today about the digital transformation and the future of the travel experience. Can you hear me well? Not sure. Can you hear me? Okay. So, from my perspective, I have one of the greatest jobs at Cloudbeds. I get to speak to partners and hotels every day, hearing their objectives, their goals, their missions. And some of these conversations have shaped the presentation today. A little presentation about what Cloudbeds is. We are an all-in-one hospitality solution, enabling streamless operations, also enabling an increase in revenue, but also providing and enabling hoteliers to provide memorable experiences. Okay, so allow me to take you guys on a journey. We're going to speak about travel expectations today, the concept of preferences and expectations, as well as the future of travel experience. Unfortunately, I cannot start speaking about the future without speaking about the past or the present. We just came out of a difficult period with COVID. The hospitality industry was highly affected. The World Travel Council tells us that there was a loss of over $5 trillion for the hospitality industry. But one of the other things that COVID did is that we were stuck at home. We spent a lot of time in front of our screens, and essentially, we all became digital experts, right? Our grandparents became digital experts, right? And social media creators became our source of inspiration for travel. They initiated us in an universe of digital traveling, with digital experiences, with amazing landscapes, and etc. It also brought the idea of reality via Instagram versus Instagram. So what is the actual reality of this experience? You guys have all seen this scenery, these beautiful shots. I don't think it's working. Well, what you would see is actually the whole line behind, the whole hour that people stayed to actually take that shot. But what you only see is the final results. Here, you can see it's at a place called Fairmont Lake Louise in Canada. You can see this beautiful, amazing couple enjoying a view at an amazing hotel. I don't know why it's not working. Here. But what you don't see, not working. What you don't see is that this room actually doesn't exist. They actually made it up. So now people are seeing this room, wanting to see it, but it actually doesn't exist. So much so that a former housekeeper actually tagged them on TikTok and told them, I hope you put everything back when you're finished. And they mentioned that they did 20 minutes later. So what's Instagram, what's reality? Ooh. What we also know is that travel is officially back, right? This statistic shows US travel sentiment. Since Q1 2022, it's at its all-time high. On the other hand, this summer, when you guys all traveled, what you actually experienced, right, were long lines at the airport, fewer seats, less staff, right, and a depreciated guest experience, essentially. But we know that travel is back. Lufthansa mentioned a 23% increased yield compared to 2019, while Accor Hotels is enjoying or increased its RevPAR from 2019. So we know travel is back. Again, there was a delta between expectations and reality, although you guys have all experienced a digital guest experience during COVID, looking at your travel experiences online. When you actually came back to real life, what you experienced was actually waiting in line. So before we move forward to the future, let's talk about these concepts that social media has brought. The concepts of preferences versus expectation. So what's a preference? What's an expectation? An expectation is what a guest expects will happen during his stay. Essentially, if you take the pizza example, an expectation for a consumer is that when I go and get a pizza, the pizza will be hot. A preference would be the toppings, essentially. In our world, the preferences would be the extras, the personalized touches, everything that makes customers write spontaneous reviews, return, become loyal, even if your price is higher, right? So dissociate preference from expectations. Travel retailers have become experts are playing the game of preference and expectations. They created filters that enables clients to actually respond to their preferences, but also to their expectations, right? According to their location, to their destinations, or even their stay patterns. From your standpoint, do you think that hoteliers get the same information? Are they able to respond to the guest expectation and preferences selected in retailers' websites? What we see is that some do, and some others not yet. If you take the example of Marriott's loyal program, as you can see here, guests have the ability to choose among their expectations, right? Bed type, room type, floor location, those are not essentially preferences. Those are informations that are in your loyal account. You have other companies like Accor, for example, that are entering the game of preferences, going into the lifestyle experience, building hotels according to preferences, and etc. So that's an interesting shift. Essentially, do we see that travel retailers like Expedia, Booking promise, but can the hotelier actually deliver? We see that there's an issue, right? The guest bring their preferences and their expectations, while the hotelier is faced with limitations, right? The hotelier is limited to the type of information that they access, the resources that they have access to, but also the attributes. And we also know that the cost of labor is increasing. So almost impossible to increase in order to match those preferences. We believe that the digital transformation is here. Allow me to share a little video with you guys. This is a video that was created by Microsoft Labs 15 years ago. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but it's pretty impressive. So the traveler arrives. She's putting on her virtual glasses and her journey starts. The virtual glasses call her Uber, which would be Uber at the time. The chauffeur comes in, takes her luggage. She comes into the car and accesses her travel hub. Her travel hub enables her to be geolocated and understand where her next meeting is. Also enables her to check in and to get access to her digital key. The bellhop receives the information regarding her preferences, this way being able to secure her arrival, but also her first time experience. Now that she's checked in, good to go, she can focus on the meeting that she's planning during her stay. She arrives, the bellhop takes her to her room, and her journey is ready to start. As you can see, this video was created by Microsoft Labs 15 years ago. We're there, but not quite. But it's interesting to see that this is not novelty. This has been thought of for this whole time. Let's talk Now that we've seen the digital transformation, we've spoken about where we came from, COVID, the fact that we all became digital experts due to COVID, the fact that social media brought the concepts of expectations versus preferences, and the digital transformation. So let's talk about the future state. We believe that Web 3.0, from the consumer perspective, will play a huge role. It brings the concepts of privacy, data control, shared financial benefits, and enhanced experience. When we talk about privacy and data control, the customer is taking back control of its data. We saw with new EU regulations, GPRD, the customer is essentially taking back control of its data. We also all heard about digital art. You all know somebody that either owns or somebody else that knows somebody else that owns NFTs. Finally, meta, the idea of a digital universe in which we could all live and be suddenly wealthy. I'm not going to focus on this today because we're talking about the hospitality realm. What I'm going to focus on is the idea of data and personal information within the hospitality landscape when it's associated to guest expectations and guest preferences. So who owns our data today? Today, as we know, for us customers, we use our data for information, for social value, i.e. Facebook, friends, who am I on the social universe, while corporations use our data to generate revenue as a marketing platform or for insights. But as I mentioned earlier, data control is shifting back to the customer. It brings three issues: control, privacy, distribution, and use. When I bring it to the hospitality industry, let's take a live scenario. A customer comes to a hotel, checks in, provides critical information about themselves. The usual scenarios. First scenario, the moment that you capture the data, it's no longer valid. It's outdated. Why? Because the hotelier can keep up to update the information. Let's just say you have a customer that checked in, got married the next day, and checked out. You didn't follow his progression. Two, how many times have you checked in to a hotel and somebody asked you, have you ever stayed with us? What I'm going to focus on is to show you guys examples of solutions trying to solve these challenges. You change? Okay. First solution, it's a solution called Solid. Their slogan is your data, your choice. What Solid does, it enables its user to store their data in a decentralized data store that they call pods. When a user, it's a personal web server. When a user stores its data in its pod, then the user is able to revoke or grant access to their data to companies, other people, or etc. So they regain the control, essentially. The second solution is the Self-Sovereign Identity, SSI, built by the Identity Foundation. It's estimated that in 3 years' time, guests will ask hotels to be able to check in, actually make a booking, check in, or even open their doors with their digital identity. This decentralized model, at least for supporters, will solve the issue of not having enough labor to keep up with data. It also opens another door for on-demand profile. You have a hotel, luxury hotels, you want to target to a certain type of crowd, to be able to kind of target only these profiles. You would tell me, Tania, but that's for a long time. But have you guys ever seen this little allow Facebook to track your activity across other companies, apps, and websites? iPhone has released an update, right, for its user. In the settings, you're able to revoke or grant access to other companies to your information, right? Because all the things that I've just showed you are already in works. Finally, you guys have all heard about the notion of the digital passport. Again, you will tell me, Tania, this is for 15 years, but this already exists essentially. It's in your pocket, right? It's in your phone. That's your digital passport today. All this presentation to essentially tell you or make you think about something, which is whether you capture data online, offline, manually. As a guest, I ask myself, if I provide you with all my information, what will you do with my data? Will it enhance my guest experience? If it does, then my expectations are exceeded. And then we can become your loyal ambassadors and recurring guests without any loyal program. At Cloudbeds, and I'll end with this, what we're working on essentially is a digital guest journey enabling a personalized experience, but powered by technology. That's our dream. That's what we're working on every day. We have about 24,000 properties in 150 countries. There's 800 of us all across the world, remotely working since 2012. And I hope to see some of you guys or all of you guys joining us in this journey. Till then, please meet us at our booth, 8F02. Or here's my contact. I'd love to chit-chat and get your perspective on digital experience. I think that's it for me. Thank you so much for your time, spending a little bit of time with me. Estoy en Barcelona, entonces si quieren venir, están bienvenidos. Gracias.